America has confirmed more than 50,000 virus cases in a single day. Now, Army medics have been sent into Texas.
Yes, well, that's certainly true. I mean, the Texas hospital system is becoming overwhelmed. As we spoke earlier, the Arizona hospital system is becoming overwhelmed. Louisiana in the south is right behind them. And these are all states who opened early and easy. Now, let's remember, in America, it's become a political issue. If you vote Labor, coronavirus is real. If you vote Liberal, National, Democrat, Republican, It doesn't quite seem to be. Now, as the country's leading epidemiologist told the National Institute of Health, hardly a political organization or a political network, he says that, we're still knee-deep in the first wave. He says what we're seeing right now is a surge of the first wave. What he also says is that unlike in Europe, for example, where the virus hits, it starts to kill people, then you find a baseline. And from there, you're going to have little blips in the baseline, like we're seeing, honestly, in Victoria. On a global scale, we're seeing a blip in Victoria. But what Dr. Fauci says that in America, it's still so out of control, they haven't even found their baseline yet. So right now, they're testing at least 40,000 positive coronavirus cases a day. As we said, they broke 50,000 on one day last week. They're heading towards 100,000 cases a day. And some of the current modelling says that if this pace continues, there's 129,000 Americans dead now from the coronavirus. By November 1, the deaths will rise to 200,000 people from the coronavirus, 45,000 of whose lives could be saved if people were just wearing masks and keeping social distancing.
Starting to have that conversation a bit more and more now in Australia too, whether masks should start to become mandatory, but that's a different matter. Michael, China has also taken a swipe at the US president as Beijing flexes its muscle, its military muscle, during the pandemic.
Now, obviously the coronavirus began in a wet market in the city of Wuhan, which is a population of 11 million people. Now, some of the most aggressive anti-Chinese advisors in the US Trump administration urged the president to start calling this the China virus. Now, true or not...
Well, the Kung flu as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm not even going to repeat that. True or not, it's not very helpful.
No.
Because you know what? In the meantime, China's pretty well recovering from the coronavirus. And you know what it's been doing in the meantime? While all of us are in the midst of our panic about the virus, they've been flexing their military muscle, right? Okay, we have reports of cyber attacks on Australian government departments just in the last few weeks. Okay. Chinese combat fighter jets have been buzzing Taiwan like flies round a garbage bin. You've seen a border fight between India and China where at least 20 Indian troops were killed. You see that the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong that were happening before the coronavirus obviously have all stopped now, and essentially China has stepped in and all but broken the agreement made with Britain in 1997 to allow a special zone for Hong Kong. Chinese security is now essentially running Hong Kong. Now, at the same time, on Wednesday, the Americans, in response, sent 2 US aircraft carriers into the South China Seas with accompanying vessels. On Saturday, the Americans began live fire war game exercises at the same time as the Chinese are conducting war games in the same waters. The Americans have stated openly they're trying to send a message to China to militarily pull their head in. And let's not forget, back in April, an Australian vessel joined the Americans in a similar kind of patrol through the same kind of waters. And so the virus may have started in China. The virus may be getting under control in China, but China is making the most out of our confusion.
Michael Ware, always good to talk. We've got to leave it there, but we'll talk to you again on Friday.